Okay, here is the rear of my ICOM IC PS15 20 amp power supply. As I stated earlier, I bought this about 5 years ago with an ICOM IC 730, and I used the radio as a backup for my other radio, and I put this up on the shelf because I used it with another power supply. But I was going through the shack the other day and I found it up on the shelf, and I figured it's a good power supply going to waste. The problem is you can't use it with any other radios except ICOM, simply because it's got a proprietary power switch on it that the only way you can turn it on is if you plug it into your ICOM radio and use the power switch on the radio itself. How that works is when you plug it in, you see these two wires I pulled those out of the connector. Those are 120 volt lines, and when you plug your radio into the connector here, 120 volts goes to the radio, to its power switch, and when you close the switch, power comes back on the other small wire back to the power supply, and that wire is grounded, and that causes the power supply to turn on with the switch on the radio. So that's kind of proprietary, and you can't really use it with any other equipment because it doesn't have its own on-off switch. And all the 12 volt power access is in that white plug there. There's no external power outputs for you to hook any wires up to. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this wire, take the plug off, and I'm going to pull the wires back in through the into the case, and you'll see what I've done on the front of the power supply here. I'll turn it around. I've added power outputs here, some two types of jacks and a cigarette lighter on the other side, and this is going to be the power switch to turn it on and off. So the wires that were in the back of the radio are going to come forward and be connected to the new outputs there. But the internals of this power supply are very compact in there, and I had to put the outputs off to the sides because the transformer is right in the middle there. But I'll be taking the cover off in a few minutes to show you. Okay, I just finished removing the wires from the rear of the power supply. This is what I have left, basically. Connector and the rubber coating I took off to make it easier to pull through, which is what I did. Alright, so we'll turn the power supply around the front now. And here are the wires here. We get two negatives and two positives, and the yellow and the blue wire are the 120 volt lines to the power switch in the ICOM radio. So I'm going to basically hook these the blue and the yellow wire to the switch right here, and the red to the red and the black to the black, and put it all back together. I think on the cigarette lighter there, I'm going to include a 15 amp fuse on that, just because that's going to be added on wire. It's not part of the original power supply, and I'm going to solder it into one of these lines, probably a 14 gauge wire. I don't think I'll be pulling 20 amps through that, so we'll just put a 15 amp fuse on that. But all right, that's about it for today. I'll continue on with the video when I show the finished product there. All right, thank you. Put a 15 amp fuse and a couple of connectors on there for the cigarette lighter. So these are 14 gauge wires, just like the originals. So I don't plan on running any heavy duty HF stuff off the cigarette lighter there, so 20 amps probably isn't needed. But yeah, we're gonna get to work on it. And basically for the power poles, this is a practice piece that I did. This is what it's going to end up, what I'm going to try to accomplish. This is a piece of the original wire that I cut off, and I practiced putting it on there. But basically, these are not two separate wires. That I split the insulation in the middle there, and mounted one of the power pole connectors to it, crimped it in there, and it slid in. I got it, the whole thing, the two wires to slide into the power pole connector, and then I looped the other end around into the top one. I was going to originally put one big loop in there and just solder it to it, but I figured this way is better. There, less soldering, the better. I'm going to do the same thing with the negative, so that's what I'm going to try to accomplish there. We'll show it to you after I've finished doing it there. Alright, here's the continuation. This is going to be part 1, but I really recorded the first part last, and well, it's going to be kind of disjointed, but here we go anyways. Oops. Bought a bunch of replacement screws, which you can't see, but pull it on the table there. Let me tell you, these are teeny weeny little screws. I think they were 3mm. This is their size. These are the original ones here. Made out, these are brass, and they don't. I took them in and out so many times that I wore out the brass, so I had to get new screws. Got some nuts too for the standoffs here. Banana plugs on the back. They got solder points, but they are also threaded, and those are also 3mm threads. And I'm not going to solder the wires to them. I'm going to actually connect them to the threaded part, so I can easily detach everything. I can either take the screws out for the power poles, and remove the whole thing with the power pole still connected to the wires. Just disconnect the wires from each one, and cigarette lighter, same thing, be able to disconnect the wires. And the on-off switch hole right here, same thing on the switch, be able to disconnect here. And this top hole is for the original LED, which will still go in place there. So, by the way, the hole for the power poles, for 2 power poles back to back, theoretically four power poles back to back, 1 positive, 2 positives and 2 negatives. The hole has to be 5/8 by 5/8 for it to fit in there. I drilled and threaded these holes into the aluminum for the mounts for the power poles there, and they screw in. So here's the power switch right here. Connected it to it's the original wires that were in there. That's gonna go in the hole I pointed out. These 2 are for the cigarette lighter. These are extra wires that I tapped into the same wires for here, the power poles. These are the original ICOM wires. So are these. There were 4 of them. So this one here, these 2 are going to go on to the right here, and of course the power poles are going to go right there. So just left to bolt it up now and get it back together. So I'm sorry about the the messed up way the video is, but I'm not gonna edit and all this for it. So it's just the way it is. So move it in closer there. But all right, I'm gonna pause now and come back when I have it completed there. Okay, here is the completed product. Got everything together. I haven't turned it on yet, so I'll do some testing there. You'll be the first to see if smoke arises out of it, or if it actually works. So turn the thing on. I hope you can see that. I think you can. Put it on DC. Some plugs here. Let me see. First one is, we'll unplug this. Plug in this one here, just connected to that. So yeah, we'll test out the power poles first. Plugs right in. Don't know whether it's on or off. It's a push button switch, so Yeah, already on. If I plug this in and it catches on fire, I'll be the first to see it. Okay, it's plugged in. I guess it's off. We got the LED on the top right there. We got the multimeter plugged into the thing. I will push the button. And what do we get? We get nothing. Oh, stupid me. Okay. I'm gonna pause it for a minute here. There's no fuse in it. I took the fuse out for safety purpose because I didn't want someone plugging it in with all the wires disconnected. Hold on, let me find the fuse. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I found a fuse there. I couldn't find the original, but all right, it's in. Let's try it for the first time. Push the button, watch the reading right here. If you can see it, I don't know, I'll reach around the camera. Oh, we got a red light. Let there be light. It's on AC. Over to DC. Yeah, we got 14.26 volts. That's what it was when I started it too. That is in the top power pole. Okay, let's check the bottom power pole. 14.27. Alright, we'll call that good. Let us check the untangling some wires here. Let's check the cigarette lighter. I have a thing here, I'll plug that in, which is the other end of this, and we'll plug that in here. That's 14.05. Wonder why that's lower. That don't make sense to me, but maybe there's resistance in the cigarette type plug. I'm not sure. But as far as I'm concerned, it works. Alright, let us try the banana plugs there. I'll unplug these. Plug in my regular test leads. It should be the negative here, positive there. And we will test from up here. 14.32 volts. 14.3 there. So I will call that as good. It works. This power supply has been sitting on my shelf unused for 7 years because it was only able to be used with ICOM radios. And I figured during the pandemic there, I started cleaning the shack. I figured I'd do this project that I've been putting off for a long time there. So it's the IC15 ICOM power supply, 20 amp, and now it can be used. That's about it for the video. I'm sorry that I started second parts of the video first and first parts second, and there's even a third part there, so it's kind of going to be jumbled. I'm not really going to edit it. It's not that important to me, but I'm gonna upload it anyways, just to show people what I did. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna put it on the shelf and use it now. Okay, thank you very much.